Here I go again, showing everybody where my microphone is because I can't figure out how to hide it better. I don't know how all these other YouTubers do it. They probably just have really fancy microphones that they can just sit in their lap out of screen, but I don't, so here we are. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. My name is Haley. I am so appreciative and astonished at how many new subscribers I have been getting. I don't even know what to do. Like, I feel like a real YouTuber. I got my first hate comment the other day. I was like, wow, somebody cared enough about me to go out of their way to bash me. I was like, what? Like, insane. But no, really, so many of you guys have been just so incredibly nice and reassuring and awesome. And
I love you guys.
And this is really cool, this like really small little community that we're creating, and I hope that it grows and we can keep doing super cool stuff on this channel. I know that I'm not the most consistent poster, but I would like to be. I'm trying. So welcome back to my channel. Like I said, today we are doing a room makeover, which actually I already did, and this is me talking through everything that I did. So basically, I've had this room that has been so many different rooms before. Like, it's been my boyfriend's mom's bedroom, it's been our roommate's bedroom, and then it was our bedroom, and now it's just kind of been this like turned into this catch-all room that always is the place that we go and stick like random pieces of furniture or random shit in, right? And it's just been like that for a while. So I kind of decided that I wanted to make it this like really cool living room area, gaming room, movie viewing room kind of thing, which I am so appreciative that I even have an extra room in my house to be able to do that, and that my roommates are cool, that we're just kind of taking over that room and I'm doing whatever I want with it, but it's open for everybody to use. So it's going to be a really cool room. So the first thing that I had to start out with doing, which I knew was going to be the hardest thing to get myself to do, but it was to clear out all of the junk that has accumulated into this room. Now that is going through, finding things, and then going and finding their proper home out of that room. And that's the best way that I like to clean, and I feel like it's the most efficient. Before, when I would do room makeovers, I would just move everything out of the room into the hallway, do the room, and then, you know, eventually I would end up just leaving stuff in random places again, and it would start accumulating in different rooms where it wasn't supposed to be. So I would find an item and then go find its proper home and clean up, so on and so forth. The next thing that I ended up doing was I just touched up the walls with some flat white paint. Now, if I had the funds to just completely repaint this room, I would, because I don't normally like using flat paint, but it was already painted before, and this is a small little thing that I had left over, so I just went in and touched up some areas that had got some scuffs on the wall or paint had chipped off. Next, I knew that for my last room makeover in this bedroom, actually, when I did that big black circle on the wall, I knew I wanted to do another weird kind of painted mural thing on the wall, but I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. So I went and just looked at some inspiration on Pinterest, and I also watched a lot of Alexandra Gater's videos and the Sorry Girl videos. Those are just some of my favorite DIYers. And I got this inspiration when I found this old can of glossy red paint that was in my garage that I had used probably about a year ago. And I did this kind of organic, curvy red striped line on the wall. And I knew that I was going to be putting a gallery wall on this wall anyway, so I thought that this red would tie into all of the pictures that I had and just be a really cool background. The next task that I took on was organizing all of the furniture that actually needed to stay in that room. Now, some of the stuff is kind of just put in there, and I don't quite have a proper home for it. For example, if you see the movie theater chair, I have 2 of those actually that I gifted to Quincy, my boyfriend, a couple years ago during Christmas, and they were a really good find. They were super cool, but they haven't really found like their proper place yet in our house. And I think that it's going to be one of those things that when we get our own place, it'll actually have like its own little area so that we can watch movies and sit in them. But for now, I'm just kind of tucking it away into the corner to make it look like a little reading nook. And the second one is in our garage. Now they're also super heavy and really inconvenient to move, so I know that some of you might be like, oh my gosh, those are so cool, movie theater chairs, why didn't you set them up? But they're just annoying, trust me. Once you have them, you're like, oh my god, why did I get these? So I had to organize all of the furniture in this room, and now knowing that I wanted to make this like a living room-esque space, I wanted it to look cozy and aesthetically pleasing, but also serve its function, and make sure that there's room to walk around for people with our dogs, room for the dogs to play. I also wanted to make sure that it was an area that if we had guests over, this could kind of feel like their own little private living room area once we get a new sofa that has a sleeper sofa. Now, also talking about the furniture, you guys, I lucked out when it came to this room. I found a free couch that was from these super sweet older people that had it completely wrapped in plastic. They vacuumed it, deep cleaned it. It looks like it had never been touched before, and it is just beautiful. I'm in love with it. I also found those yellow chairs, which are so beautiful. They are definitely not as comfortable as I thought they were going to be though, because they're very low rider chairs, but they are swivel, which is a really cool touch. Then I found these wicker ottomans that look like they're supposed to go to a papasan chair, and they didn't have any cushions, and I found those at Goodwill probably like a year and a half ago, and they've just been another thing that's kind of floating around our house from room to room, and I haven't quite figured out what I wanted to do with them. And I thought it would go perfect with going in front of these chairs. I just needed to make cushions for them, which we will touch on later. Next, I knew that I needed to figure out what to do with these big open closet spaces that weren't going to be housing any clothes or anything, and they had so many holes on the walls because a couple of years ago they had those closet-made systems in them, and at the time I just didn't have the spackle or the funds to be able to cover up the holes, so I went in, touched it with the white paint, and just started to decorate. Now, I got inspiration from my last room makeover where I did the layered tapestry wall, but I didn't have any tapestries left, so I went through all of our linens and found a bunch of old pillowcase covers that we weren't using anymore that were cool fabrics, all kinds of in blacks and whites, and one curtain panel that was green that almost matched the couch perfectly, and I decided to just layer those all up together with a couple of pictures and a hanging candle and turn that into a little music nook to house all of Quincy's guitars and his amp, and it came out looking really cool. Next, I moved on to the gallery wall. Now, I did a more in-depth explanation of a gallery wall in my last room makeover, which was this room, which you can go ahead and click right here to watch if you would like an explanation of that. But with this one, I just time-lapse through it so you can see all of the pictures that I put up and how I specifically chose movie and TV related things to put on the wall just to really amp up the vibe of this room. Now, if you really like that movie poster that I put in the middle, what it actually is a puzzle that Quincy and I did, and I ended up Mod Podging it so that it could stay together and be on the wall. Super cool pro tip if you don't want to spend the money on big poster pieces or artwork. What you could do is go to Goodwill, Walmart, the dollar store, and find cool puzzles, do the puzzle, and then just glue it together, and it's a piece of art. All you have to do is put 4 tiny little nails in the corner, and I will tell you that I have a bunch of these puzzles all over my house, and they are actually really easy to move around to get off the wall if you're worried about that. Once all the pictures were on the wall, I was getting so excited because the red organic line that I put on there was pulling in all of the reds from all of the pictures, and it was just coming together exactly how I wanted it in my head, and I was getting super excited. So the last thing that I had to do was make these couch cushion covers, or not couch cushion, but the covers to go in the audience, the little cushions. So I have never made cushions before, but my sewing skills have drastically improved since I've been making masks during COVID, and so I thought that I would give it a shot. So again, I went and you know, scuffled through all of my linens, and I found an old duvet cover in this really pretty teal that just wasn't being utilized anymore. So I took the ottomans, flipped them upside down, and just traced the circle, and then when I went in to cut it, I left myself an inch of seam allowance. Now, if you're someone who used to be like me, who does not sew, and you're gonna attempt to do this, seam allowance is so you can leave an inch to make sure that when you go and put your fabric on your sewing machine, you have extra fabric that you can push to the side so that your needle is actually on the line where you're going to be sewing. If I cut on the line, then there wouldn't be room for the needle to sit, and it would try and suck all the fabric up into the machine. Next, I just ran around with a straight stitch, sewed them all closed, but left a little pocket open so that I could flip them inside out, and then stuffed them with some old cushioning from old pillows that were also just in my linens. Apparently I have a lot of old linens and I can make stuff out of them, which that's great. And then I put them on the ottomans. Now, I will tell you that these did not come out looking like Urban Outfitters. Definitely wouldn't sew them. Probably would have done a lot better if I was making them for somebody else, but when it comes to stuff that's going to be in my home, I tend to half-ass stuff a little bit because I just want to get through it and get it done and see the outcome. But they did come out doing their job, and they're very cushiony. Now, unfortunately, the one thing that I couldn't luck out with finding was a rug for this area. I am definitely going to do that, and I'm going to fix that hole in the wall by the light switch. You guys notice that? Don't at me, I just put a poster over it because, again, I might half-ass stuff just a little bit when it comes to my room, but I promise when I'm doing other people's spaces, I try a bajillion times harder, okay? Now, with all that said and done, I was super excited for my roommates and my friends after COVID to come over and see this room that we can cave in, watch movies together, and watch TV, and this is how it turned out. I hope you guys like this room makeover. I know that it might have been a little bit of a short video, but I definitely wanted to film it while I was doing it so that you guys could just see a little bit into the stuff that I do. It wasn't a massive room makeover, but it definitely was a lovely retouch, and now it's a room that can actually be utilized, and it is so cozy. Now, thank you again to all of the new people that have been subscribing to my channel. Thank you to my one and only hater, because you're just making me work so much harder. And please like this video, subscribe, share it to your friends, comment down below what you think I should do next. Black Lives Matter, and I love you guys so much. Mwah.